The movie opens showing Joe Baylor, who is a troubled LAPD officer who has committed a serious crime in his past. He is currently awaiting a court hearing for the incident, which occurred while on his duty 8 months earlier. Because of that, he is now working the night shift at the 911 call center due to being transferred from his previous duty. At that time, criminal activities increase in Los Angeles so that the police cannot help everyone who is in trouble. Moreover, while fires are spreading across California, which makes evacuation routes even more difficult, therefore Joe is also very busy receiving calls from the civilians. In one call, a man explains that his car has been stolen and there is also his 3-month-old daughter inside the car. This shows how bad the situation in Los Angeles is, and everyone is leaving the city to avoid the destruction. Meanwhile, Joe has a daughter, but his wife won't let him talk to her, and she does not live with him anymore. During his working hours, Joe ignores a call from a reporter named Catherine who wants to take an interview with him about his past crime. It is revealed that he has not told anyone about what he did in his past. On the other side, he and his friend have planned everything in the court hearing to get away with charges of crime he committed. Later, Joe answers a call from a woman named Emily Layton, who strangely speaks to him like a mother talking to a child in tears. At first, Joe believes that the call is a joke and wants to hang up, but suddenly he becomes suspicious when he hears a man's voice telling Emily to cancel the call. He then asks her if she is kidnapped by someone, and Emily finally reveals that she has been abducted after answering the question with yes. From now on, Joel asks yes or no questions. So, the abductor does not get suspicious of their calls. He eventually learns that Emily and her abductor are traveling in a white van, but she's forced to hang up before she can provide more details after the abductor hears the words white van. After that, Joe immediately relays the information to the California Highway Patrol. But unfortunately, they stop a wrong van due to the extremely bad weather. The police tell them to find out the license plate number of the white van so they can locate it more easily. On the other hand, Joe continues to receive calls from his wife. However, he decides to ignore it because, for now, he only wants to focus on saving Emily. After learning Emily's address and home number from the police database, he calls Emily's home phone and speaks with her 6-year-old daughter, Abby. Terrified, she tells Joe that her father, Henry Fisher, came to the house with a knife and forced her mother into his van, leaving Abby at home alone with her baby brother, Oliver. Joe calms her down and tells her to call 911 if something bad happens to her. Furthermore, he is able to retrieve the van's plate number, which he relays to the California Highway Patrol after Abby unintentionally informs him of Henry's cell phone number. Before that, he also sends a patrol car to Emily's home to check on Abby and her baby brother. Not only that, Joe is surprised to learn that Henry has an assault record and has been in and out of jail several times. Seeing the data, he is increasingly convinced that Henry is the abductor. Worried that he might disturb the other 911 operators, Joe decides to go to another room and tries to ask his superior at the police station to help Emily. However, his superior tells him to focus on solving his own case in court tomorrow, rather than insisting on helping other people's cases. He also advises Joe not to do anything stupid and carry out his work according to standard operating procedures, as he was already in serious trouble. He frustratingly calls and demands Henry to know where he is taking Emily. But Henry hangs up. He ends up enlisting the help of his former partner, Rick, who is off duty to visit Henry's house. Basically, Rick is a friend of Joe's who has planned to provide false testimony in court to get away from his crimes. Shortly after, another operator informs him that he gets a call from Abby. A panicked Abby tells him the 2 officers have arrived at her doorsteps, but her parents have taught her not to open the door to strangers. Joe then instructs her to let them in as they are there to help her. Then the officers notice blood on Abby, which fortunately was not hers. Upon searching the house, they find Oliver in the bedroom, either gravely injured or dead. He was stabbed multiple times, which means Henry tried to kill Oliver. Their calls are suddenly cut off when the officers panicked at the sight while holding his temper. Joe calls Henry again and claims to be a policeman, saying that he already knows everything he has done to his wife and children. Surprisingly, Henry feels cornered and cannot say anything while crying. Joe angrily says that if he catches him later, Henry would have to be executed. After expressing his anger, the call is disconnected. After a while, Joe calls Emily back and convinces her to pull the handbrake of the van, which she does immediately, and the call is cut off. While waiting, he calls the California Highway Patrol to check the status of Emily's cell phone's last GPS point. After a few minutes has passed, he receives a call from Emily saying that his plan failed to crash the vehicle. When she tries to escape, Henry is able to catch her and puts her in the back of the van. Joe calms her down and tells her that when Henry comes towards her, she should use anything as a weapon to knock out Henry and run away as far as she can. When Joe gives her some relief, Emily tearfully tells him that she believed Oliver had a snake in his stomach and that she took them out. Joe is confused what she is talking about. When Henry stops the van and tries to remove Emily from the back, she hits him with a brick and flees, leaving the call disconnected. In the meantime, Rick successfully breaks into Henry's apartment and finds unpaid billing documents from a psychiatric treatment facility in San Bernardino, where Emily had been a patient. Joe, in shock, calls injured Henry again, who eventually explains the truth to him. He wants to take Emily back to the facility because she has been off her medication for several weeks. And during a psychotic episode, Emily unintentionally hurt Oliver, although he knows that he will be rejected by the facility because they could not afford them and the previous bill had not been paid. He is determined to go there to protect his children. Henry finally says he did not report the incident to the police because he did not trust the criminal justice system and still loves his wife, even though they were divorced. After the phone call, Joe cannot believe what he has done. He desperately feels that it was all his fault, thinking that if he has not interfered in other people's matters, none of this would have happened. Shortly after, Emily calls Joe back from a freeway overpass while answering Joe's question. She panics when she sees a lot of blood on her hands. Hence, she instantly remembers all her mistakes to her family. Emily continues to cry and regret all of her actions, implying that she is preparing to die by suicide. At the same time, Joe directs the California Highway Patrol to her location while attempting to talk her down. He tries to distract her by revealing that he killed a 19-year-old boy while on duty because he was angry with him for hurting someone. In other words, Emily and Joe are having the same problem, and the only difference is that Emily accepts her guilt, so she wants to kill herself, while Joe continues to give himself the relief that what he did can be justified. In addition, Joe tells Emily that Abby needs her and that he promised Abby she will come home later as the officers arrive. Emily says she is still going to go be with Oliver, and the line goes dead. Joe thinks she has jumped, but luckily, he then gets a message from the California Highway Patrol saying that they already got her to come down safely. His friend also informed him that Oliver is still alive and he is in the ICU at the hospital. Hearing all these facts, Joe cries happily after saving the lives of Emily and Oliver. A few moments later, he goes to the restroom and realizes that Emily's case was a reflection of his own problems. He can easily advise others while he tries to bury his own crimes, running away from the responsibilities he has to face. Because of this, he confidently calls Rick, asking him to recant his previous statement about the incident. He asks Rick to tell the truth in court, even though he will spend years in prison. Apparently, Joe also calls the Los Angeles Times to inform Catherine that he will plead guilty to a charge of manslaughter as he accepts his past crime. In the end, a news report is read out detailing that Officer Joe Baylor has indeed pled guilty to manslaughter in an officer-related shooting. Instead of hiding behind lies and false testimonies, he chooses the hardest path, the truth, even if it means prison, even if it means losing everything. Because sometimes redemption doesn't come from escaping the consequences of our actions. It comes from accepting them. Thanks for watching, and always remain fair in all circumstances.